Understanding the purpose of your life is the most important discovery you will ever make. Many people spend years chasing success, approval, or comfort, yet still feel empty inside. That emptiness exists because achievement without purpose always feels hollow. Purpose is not something you create, it is something you uncover. Your life was designed before it was deployed, and nothing exists without a reason for being. Purpose gives meaning to your existence. It explains why you are wired the way you are, why certain problems bother you deeply, and why specific visions keep returning to your mind. Your talents, passions, and even your pain are clues pointing toward your assignment. When you understand your purpose, confusion fades, comparison loses power, and clarity begins to guide your decisions. Many people mistake occupation for purpose. A job is what you do to earn income. Purpose is why you exist. Your career may change multiple times, but your purpose remains constant. When you align your work with your purpose, fulfillment replaces frustration. You stop waking up just to survive and start waking up to contribute. Purpose also brings discipline. When you know why you are here, distractions no longer dominate you. You learn to say no to what looks attractive but leads nowhere. Purpose sharpens focus, protects energy, and demands growth. It calls you to develop character, wisdom, and consistency because purpose cannot be fulfilled by an undisciplined life. Another truth about purpose is that it always serves something beyond yourself. Life was never meant to revolve around personal gain alone. True purpose impacts others, solves problems, and adds value to the world. When your life improves others, significance follows naturally. Fulfillment is the reward of usefulness. Understanding your purpose also helps you endure hardship. Challenges no longer feel random, they become training. Resistance refines you, delays prepare you, and pressure reveals capacity. When you know your purpose, you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this developing in me?" Most importantly, purpose gives direction to time. Without purpose, people waste years reacting instead of building. With purpose, every season has meaning. You learn when to wait, when to move, and when to release what no longer aligns. Purpose teaches patience without passivity and action without anxiety. Your life is not an accident. You were born with intention, equipped with ability, and placed in your generation for a reason. Discovering your purpose is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming fully who you were meant to be. When purpose is understood, life stops being a question and starts becoming an answer. Purpose precedes existence. This truth challenges the way many people understand life. Most individuals believe they are born first and then search for meaning later. In reality, meaning comes before birth. Nothing appears without intention, and nothing is created without a reason. Long before a person takes their first breath, their life carries an assignment. Existence is simply the delivery of a pre-planned design into the world. When purpose precedes existence, life is no longer random. Your abilities, temperament, and natural inclinations are not accidents. They are evidence of intentional design. What you are naturally drawn to is not coincidence, it is direction. Purpose leaves clues inside you before you ever become aware of them. Your gifts reveal what you were sent to do, not what you should imitate from others. Many people struggle because they attempt to define themselves after entering the world instead of discovering who they were meant to be before they arrived. They allow society, culture, and pressure to shape their identity. This creates confusion, competition, and insecurity. When you don't understand purpose, you borrow definitions from people who don't know your design. Purpose precedes existence, so identity should be discovered, not invented. Understanding that purpose comes first also explains why fulfillment cannot be found in achievement alone. Success without alignment feels empty because it satisfies activity, not assignment. You can be busy and still be misplaced. Just like any tool, a life functions best when used according to its original intention. When you operate outside purpose, effort increases, but satisfaction decreases. Purpose being prior to existence means your life is needed. You were not created to fill space, but to solve a problem. Every generation carries challenges that require specific solutions, and you were equipped to address something unique within your time. Your presence is proof that something was missing before you arrived. You are not here by chance. You are here because your contribution is necessary. This understanding also removes the pressure to compete. When purpose comes before existence, no two lives are designed for the same assignment. Comparison becomes pointless because replacement is impossible. You cannot take someone else's purpose, and no one can take yours. Each life is custom built for a specific function. When you accept this, you stop striving to prove worth and start focusing on being effective. Purpose precedes existence, which means time is not your enemy but your resource. You were given exactly the amount of time required to fulfill what you were designed to do. Wasted years come from misalignment, not lack of opportunity. When people live without purpose, they misuse time trying to impress, chase, or escape. When purpose is understood, time becomes intentional and focused. Even pain begins to make sense through this lens. Struggles are not interruptions to purpose. They are often instruments of preparation. Pressure develops strength. Resistance builds endurance, and challenges refine clarity. When purpose is first, hardship is no longer evidence of failure, but part of formation. What tries to break you is often shaping you for the work ahead. Purpose preceding existence also demands responsibility. If life is intentional, then living casually becomes dangerous. You cannot afford to live without discipline when your life carries meaning. Purpose calls for stewardship of your mind, body, time, and character. Neglecting growth delays fulfillment, not because purpose is fragile, but because maturity is required to carry it. Ultimately, understanding that purpose comes before existence restores dignity to life. You are not an experiment or an afterthought. You are a solution sent into the world. When this truth becomes clear, life gains direction. Confidence replaces insecurity, and meaning governs action. Existence then becomes what it was always meant to be, the expression of a purpose that already existed. Purpose determines direction. Without purpose, movement exists, but progress does not. Many people are active every day, yet they are not advancing toward anything meaningful. They are busy, not intentional. Direction is not defined by speed or effort, but by alignment. When purpose is unclear, life becomes reactive. When purpose is known, life becomes deliberate. Direction answers the question of where your life is going, and purpose supplies that answer. Without purpose, decisions are made based on convenience, emotion, or pressure. With purpose, decisions are made based on alignment. You begin to measure opportunities not by how attractive they appear, but by whether they move you closer to your assignment. Purpose becomes the compass that governs choices. When purpose determines direction, distractions lose authority. Not everything that demands your attention deserves your energy. Many people lose years because they say yes to things that feel urgent but are ultimately irrelevant. Purpose filters options. It helps you recognize what to pursue, what to postpone, and what to walk away from. Direction becomes clearer because purpose simplifies complexity. Purpose-driven direction also brings consistency. Without direction, people shift paths frequently, chasing trends, approval, or instant results. This creates instability and frustration. When purpose is understood, consistency replaces confusion. You may adjust methods, but the destination remains the same. Direction gives patience to your process because you know where you are headed. Another effect of purpose-determining direction is emotional stability. When life lacks purpose, emotions control movement. A bad day changes decisions. Criticism redirects effort. Praise inflates ego. Purpose anchors direction beyond feelings. You continue moving even when motivation fades because purpose sustains commitment. Direction becomes stronger than mood. Purpose also clarifies priorities. Direction is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters most. When purpose governs direction, your time, relationships, and habits align with your long-term vision. You begin to invest energy in growth instead of entertainment, discipline instead of distraction, and development instead of delay. Direction turns intention into structure. Understanding purpose-driven direction also protects you from comparison. When you don't know your purpose, you measure progress by watching others. This leads to impatience and self-doubt. When purpose determines direction, comparison loses relevance. You stop rushing because someone else appears ahead. You understand that different purposes require different paths and timelines. Purpose determining direction also changes how you respond to obstacles. Challenges no longer signal that you are lost. They become indicators that you are being tested. Direction gives resilience. You don't turn back at resistance because you understand that meaningful destinations demand endurance. Purpose keeps you moving forward even when the path becomes difficult. Direction shaped by purpose produces confidence. Confidence is not arrogance. It is clarity. When you know where you are going, you walk with assurance. You speak with intention. You stop seeking permission to become who you already are. Purpose eliminates hesitation by replacing uncertainty with conviction. Ultimately, purpose-determining direction means your life is led, not driven. You are not pushed by fear, pressure, or expectation. You are guided by meaning. Direction becomes intentional, progress becomes measurable, and life gains momentum. When purpose governs direction, movement turns into destiny, and each step carries you closer to the reason you exist. Purpose demands development. No meaningful assignment can be fulfilled by an undeveloped life. Purpose may be discovered early, but it cannot be executed immediately without growth. Potential reveals what is possible, but development determines what is deliverable. Many people desire purpose without preparation, yet purpose places a demand on who you must become before it can be expressed. When purpose is revealed, it exposes gaps. It shows you where you are insufficient, untrained, or immature. This is not meant to discourage you, but to direct your growth. Purpose is larger than comfort, so it calls you out of convenience and into discipline. Development is the bridge between intention and impact. Without it, purpose remains an idea instead of a reality. Development begins with the mind. Your thinking must expand to carry responsibility. Limited thinking produces limited outcomes. Even when purpose is great, growth requires learning, reflection, and humility. You must be willing to unlearn habits and beliefs that no longer serve your assignment. Purpose demands that you upgrade your mindset before you attempt to change your environment. Character development is equally essential. Purpose magnifies influence, and influence without character is dangerous. Integrity, patience, and self-control are not optional traits, they are requirements. Purpose exposes character flaws because unresolved weaknesses will eventually undermine effectiveness. Development refines your inner life so that success does not destroy you. Purpose also demands emotional maturity. Many people abandon their assignment because they cannot manage rejection, delay, or pressure. Development teaches endurance. It builds the ability to remain consistent when affirmation is absent and results are slow. Emotional strength allows you to carry responsibility without becoming reactive or bitter. Skill development is another requirement of purpose. Calling does not replace competence. Passion without skill creates frustration. Development requires practice, repetition, and correction. You must respect your assignment enough to master what it requires. Purpose does not excuse mediocrity, it demands excellence. Preparation honors the significance of your role. Development also requires patience with process. Growth takes time, and purpose is not rushed. Impatience leads to premature exposure, which often results in failure. Development protects you by delaying visibility until capacity is sufficient. Hidden seasons are not wasted seasons. They are training grounds where strength is built without pressure. Purpose demands accountability. You cannot grow alone. Development involves correction, mentorship, and honest evaluation. Pride resists instruction, but purpose welcomes it. The willingness to be taught is proof of readiness. Growth accelerates when humility replaces ego. Even adversity contributes to development. Pressure refines focus, resistance builds resilience, and setbacks expose what still needs work. Purpose uses difficulty as a tool, not a threat. What challenges you is often shaping you. Development transforms obstacles into preparation instead of punishment. Ultimately, purpose demands development because destiny requires capacity. You cannot carry tomorrow's responsibility with today's maturity. Growth is not optional, it is necessary. When you commit to development, purpose moves from potential to fulfillment. The life you were designed to live begins to emerge when you become who your purpose requires. Purpose is always service-oriented. True purpose is never centered on self-promotion, personal comfort, or individual gain. While fulfillment may be personal, purpose itself is outward-facing. It exists to meet needs, solve problems, and improve lives. When purpose is misunderstood, people chase status and recognition. When purpose is understood, people focus on contribution and impact. Every meaningful assignment is connected to a need beyond the individual. You were not created simply to consume resources or accumulate success. Your abilities were given to address something broken, missing, or undeveloped in the world around you. Purpose asks not, "What do I want?" but "What needs to be done?" Fulfillment becomes the byproduct of usefulness. Service-oriented purpose changes how success is defined. Success is no longer measured by applause, wealth, or visibility alone. It is measured by value added. When lives are improved, systems are strengthened, or hope is restored, purpose is being fulfilled. Many people feel empty despite achievement because their success is disconnected from service. Purpose reconnects accomplishment to meaning. Understanding purpose as service also removes entitlement. You stop expecting life to revolve around your comfort and start taking responsibility for your contribution. Purpose requires sacrifice, effort, and consistency. It demands showing up even when recognition is absent. Service-oriented living is not driven by reward but by responsibility. Purpose being service-based also shapes humility. When you understand that your gifts exist for others, pride loses its grip. You stop seeing yourself as superior and start seeing yourself as entrusted. Abilities are no longer tools for self-elevation but instruments for impact. Humility keeps purpose pure and prevents misuse of influence. Service-oriented purpose also clarifies leadership. True leadership is not control, it is stewardship. Influence exists to guide, protect, and develop others. When purpose is centered on service, leadership becomes an act of care, not dominance. Authority is exercised to empower, not to impress. Purpose as service also brings resilience. When your work is rooted in helping others, discouragement has less power. Results may be slow, but commitment remains strong because the motivation is deeper than reward. Service sustains endurance when convenience disappears. Purpose-driven service continues even when it costs. Another powerful aspect of service-oriented purpose is connection. Service builds relationships, trust, and community. When people feel valued and helped, impact multiplies. Purpose is rarely fulfilled alone. It often requires collaboration, empathy, and understanding. Service creates the environment where purpose can grow. Service-oriented purpose also protects against selfish ambition. Ambition without service exploits people. Ambition with service uplifts them. Purpose keeps ambition aligned with ethics and compassion. It ensures that growth does not come at the expense of others. Purpose demands that progress benefits more than one life. Ultimately, purpose being service-oriented restores dignity to both the giver and the receiver. It reminds you that your life matters because it makes life better for others. True fulfillment is not found in being served, but in serving well. When purpose is lived through service, impact becomes legacy, and life leaves a meaningful imprint long after effort ends. Purpose gives strength in adversity. Without purpose, difficulty feels meaningless and overwhelming. Challenges become sources of bitterness, fear, and confusion. When purpose is understood, adversity is no longer an enemy, it becomes a teacher. Hardship does not disappear, but its power to defeat you does. Purpose transforms suffering from a question into a process. When people lack purpose, pain feels personal and random. They ask why life is unfair and assume struggle means failure. Purpose changes that interpretation. It reveals that pressure is often preparation. Resistance strengthens what is meant to endure. Adversity becomes part of the journey, not a detour from it. Purpose gives context to pain, and context produces endurance. Purpose strengthens resolve during delay. Waiting without purpose feels like punishment. Waiting with purpose feels like positioning. Many assignments require maturity that cannot be rushed. Adversity often slows progress to protect development. Purpose allows patience to grow because you trust the process shaping you. Strength comes from knowing that delay is not denial. Another way purpose gives strength is by stabilizing emotions. Adversity often triggers fear, anger, or despair. When purpose is clear, emotions are acknowledged but not obeyed. Purpose anchors decisions beyond temporary feelings. You continue moving forward even when confidence fades. Strength is not the absence of fear, it is commitment in the presence of it. Purpose also prevents retreat. Many people abandon their calling at the first sign of resistance. Without purpose, obstacles look like signs to quit. With purpose, obstacles look like tests to pass. Strength comes from clarity. When you know why you are doing something, endurance increases. Purpose keeps you standing when quitting would be easier. Adversity also exposes character, and purpose refines it. Pressure reveals weaknesses that comfort hides. Pride, impatience, and insecurity surface during hardship. Purpose does not allow these traits to remain unaddressed. Strength grows as character is refined. What adversity reveals, purpose reshapes. Purpose also gives strength through vision. When circumstances are dark, vision provides light. Purpose allows you to see beyond the present struggle into the future impact. You endure difficulty because you believe in the outcome. Vision fuels perseverance. Strength is sustained by hope grounded in purpose. Another powerful effect of purpose in adversity is focus. Hardship often brings distraction and confusion. Purpose narrows attention. You stop wasting energy on blame and start investing energy in growth. Strength increases when focus replaces frustration. Purpose teaches you where to look and what to ignore. Purpose also turns adversity into credibility. What you survive becomes what qualifies you. Pain produces wisdom that cannot be learned in comfort. Your endurance becomes a source of strength for others. Purpose ensures that adversity is not wasted. What tried to break you becomes what empowers you to help. Ultimately, purpose gives strength in adversity because it answers the question of meaning. When suffering has meaning, it loses the power to destroy hope. Purpose does not remove the storm, but it gives you the strength to stand in it. Adversity may shape you, but purpose ensures it does not define you.